Okay, hi guys, welcome once again to TableTalk with Uncle James and Raz. For those of you who are first time joining us, welcome. For those of our friends who have watched our first episode and followed us till now, thank you for believing in us. Thank you for joining us. So today's second episode, we are going to talk about cancel culture. So you don't want to miss this. Let's go to our episode right now.
Let's just start off the cancel culture topic on a recent incident that features a very big story, which was the incident of the Oceangate Titanic uh, research vessel imploding. So a bit of context into this vessel's incident. This was a experimental vessel driven by the CEO of the company with a Logitech controller. So the whole fiasco about this was the vessel was not certified for the deep sea exploration, and there were 5 people on board. So there were a lot of things that happened during the short period of time. It was the search and rescue. It was the response. There was a lot of things that happened. What today's story will be about is actually the internet's response to it. As you guys know, on social media, Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook, you will see a lot of memes of the submarine itself, and you will see a lot of reference to it. So, like, one common reference that I see is the tanker, the gigantic rail tanker, actually compressing very quickly, or some clips of the submarine going down under the ocean. There is a lot of reference to this tragedy online, and it got to a point whereby the company Oceangate actually shut down their operation, and it didn't just affect Oceangate; it affected companies like Logitech, or even some other companies of other PlayStation controllers. People are making fun of the operating system of the submarine.
Honestly, I think everybody would know more or less about what happened to Oceangate. I think
Okay.
all you need to do is just open up to the fact that a major tragedy has happened. 5 lives were lost. And because of the aftermath of these 5 lives lost, and the fact uh, how the lives were lost because of the inadequate or incompetence or the dangers of the vessel itself, which is not seaworthy actually, then the backlash that came from the internet, from online, which made I believe it's OceanGate's investors and OceanGate's uh, collaborators pulling out from their company. That's why they have to stop their operations, because nobody wants to collaborate with them, and their namesake is so bad in the market that nobody, even I think even insurance also don't want to cover them. So
Mm.
there is no practical
Support
way
anymore.
in which they can resume their business. So I have seen a few of the memes that have come out during the first few days of the incident, even before they announced that they could definitively say that the lives were all lost due to the implosion. I believe it is the first few days that the vessel lost contact, the submersible lost contact with the mothership, right? Um, it was quite bad because everybody was doing it. You have this small little picture of one small little, I don't know, it looks like a, what does it look like even? It looks like a small fish, right? Going down and then just not coming back up again. So many uh, different memes about it. So I thought that it was very unfeeling at that time. I thought it was quite rude, quite insensitive at that time. And I didn't know, I did not see the effect of it coming. Um, Probably it was early days still, But after they announced that the vessel was confirmed destroyed, imploded, the internet got even worse with their memes, right? Got even they lost control over the memes. Everywhere you are seeing is Oceangate and Oceangate and Oceangate. Was something that you can expect. It was an expected reaction from the internet as a whole, because they were so angry that the vessel apparently had a lot of problems before. I think there was very prominent names that was invited to go on board. They didn't want to because prior to that, all the safety features and all the safety protocols were not adhered to, or they, they were very vague about the safety aspects of the submersible. So that's life saved because people were smart enough not to go on board that vessel, having known that there was not enough safety precautions. Um, I guess the company had it coming. Don't you think so, Raz?
Like you said, I think the company did have this thing come towards them. Given the fact that actually there were a lot of technical issues when before this incident happened. They had battery issues, they have propulsion issues. They had things that clearly suggest that the vehicle is still in the experimental phase. It's not ready for transportation of people. And the tragedy actually struck a personal note because um, there was this billionaire, a father, and a son on board. So this father and son, they actually got the son didn't want to go on board. A lot of people didn't realize, but the son actually didn't want to go on board. And because it was for Father's Day that recently happened, the son wanted to join the father to join for this expedition. I think it was really a devastating blow to their family, especially given that these were two people out of their family who lost their lives. I think you have something to say about this as well.
I think looking at the response from the internet, and as you have said, people have come to realize that that young man was actually accompanying his father because it was something just to accompany the father for Father's Day. Uh, I think internet power, the power of the internet, is actually is underscored by this case that we have seen here, because people are so angry. It has made worldwide news, and because information is passed down so fast, and it's everywhere is information, right? At the split second, the whole world can know about what's going on. We are so connected now. So I think cancel culture is here to stay. I believe cancel culture is something that uh, we cannot we cannot do away with. And I think in this case, the cancel culture action or movement is the correct one, because this company has to close down. It cannot, we cannot afford to let it still run and risk more lives than they have already lost in their. It's just incompetent. It's just reckless use of their technology, and it's just so reckless. The word is reckless. How they handled their company, and what they were doing with the vessels that they have. And did you know actually that just a day after the implosion, and the day after all the crew on board were confirmed dead, they actually put up a advertisement to seek for another pilot to pilot their craft. Did you see that job advertisement?
For me, I didn't see that job advertisement, unfortunately. I think they took it down like hours after they published it. I didn't get the chance to see it. But um, I did see the internet's response to it as well. People use social media nowadays. It's even till now, like as of today's recording, in a way, I think I agree with you. The company should have been shut down. It was too reckless. It was too dangerous. The director for the film Titanic actually mentioned that the boss was very reckless. And if you see prior recordings of the CEO talking about his vessel and everything, you realize that he actually took a lot of loopholes. He took a lot of experimental things that were not proven in the industry to actually try and make a profit out of the dangers. And I think it took one too many. The vessel imploded on its fifth voyage. It could have been worse. I believe they wanted to invite more celebrities on it. It could have the damage could have been worse. But I think on the extra note, there was a there was a more parties that were affected by this, especially the companies such as the controller companies such as Logitech, Nintendo, Sony, and everything. People were buying these out of comedy, and I think the other thing that was in question is the Titanic itself. People were actually saying Titanic 2.0, which was a bit of a comedy back then, but nowadays when we think about it, it was just a temporary thing.
Well, I'm just thinking that maybe this is poetic justice because the news came out. I mean, I'm only basing all my assumptions on the news that I've read, right? They had done a few dives, and within that few dives, actually, problems have already cropped up. I think there was a previous dive where the vessel, the submersible itself, was stuck somewhere or was lost. Thankfully, it managed to come back up. Uh, why do I say it's poetic justice? Because the accident had to happen when the CEO himself was inside the vessel. So I think if there is a God, I think that sends a very, very clear message. Don't do this again. Please do not. And I believe that somehow things have happened the way it does, only to stop further lives from being lost. And I think it's good for everyone's sake that this company has shut down. I believe the reaction in this case, for the Oceangate reaction, I think it was justified. I think everybody was angry, and it's justifiably so that people start to ask online, ask the hard questions, viral everything, so that people will know how dangerous it was and how reckless this company was treating human lives. And I think in this instance, the cancer culture movement that is going around uh, has done its part. It was necessary, and it was an effective means of putting to a stop something that could potentially have lost more lives if they were not stopped. But however, there were also some instances where I think cancer culture was just used as a
A bit too
weapon
much.
to attack or to really destroy a person, such as a fine example, the Amber Heard and the what is that name? The who is that guy?
Johnny Depp.
And Johnny Depp. That is a good example of how an actress, a person was totally destroyed. Her whole career was destroyed. I do not know much about her lifestyle now, but I do believe she has to sell her house to pay off the fine or the penalty, the
The
monies that he
divorce
was
proceedings.
she was supposed to pay back to Johnny Depp. Um, what are your thoughts about this Amber Heard issue?
So this Amber Heard issue was kind of prominent back before COVID was a thing. I believe it was in 2019. Remember? Was it? Um, was it in 2019 or something?
I don't follow really exactly because I'm not a Hollywood or movie type of person.
Okay,
I
but it happened within the past 5 years.
yeah, I
Okay.
suppose it's even during COVID. I think 2019 is a would be a good gauge. I believe it's around that time. It was also around COVID. I think the case was dragged out for so long. If I'm not mistaken, Amber Heard was the one who sued Johnny Depp first, and then Johnny Depp countered suit because Johnny Depp was saying, "Don't bully me anymore. I've had enough of this shit. I'm going to say my piece, and then I'm going to let the courts decide who is right, who is wrong."
I think the Amber Heard incident was quite a debate back in 2019, especially after the divorce case actually went public around the world, featuring Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. Now, these two actors, I will say, I know Johnny Depp a lot. He was the character, the Jack Sparrows in Pirates of the Caribbean. He was, he played in many shows that I watched as a kid. Amber Heard was actually a actress that I didn't really know at the time. Um, I believe now, after the incident got public, there was a lot of backlash, especially the way the court recording was, how the lawyers reacted, how Amber was when she testified. It led to a lot of shouts in the on the internet, because here you have a amazing person like Johnny Depp. He is a great character, you know. He acted in Disney shows and everything, being deflamed like an abuser, and it was it was really angry at that point of time, because this was my hero. This was my hero being taught bad. It kind of led to a lot of frustration. I think the internet was a bit harsh on her, but then again, I think she got what she deserved as well. So, what do you think?
I think this is a too-prone issue. Um, when, if my memory serves, when the matter was actually blown up on all the news media, Johnny Depp actually lost a lot. He lost his placing. He lost his film, The Pirates of the Caribbean. He was fired from that movie. He lost millions and millions of dollars in revenue, in his own income, because he was cancelled. He was cancelled, and then he took this all in his stride, until such that he decided he's going to fight back. Um, the way I look at this, there are no winners here. Johnny Depp, even though he won the case, but he is still out of the Pirates of the Caribbean project. If I'm not mistaken, he has not been reinstated, and he did not say that he wants to return anymore. But if he had still stayed on without this case, he would probably still be doing the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. As for Amber Heard, like you said, she got her just desserts because she has been found to be lying and found to have exaggerated a lot of things, and made up stories in order to hurt Johnny Depp. I think such things as she was shitting on his bed sheets, or something like that are not very clear. It's quite vague now. It's a long story. It was a long ago matter. So, and now got back her karma, basically. Her role in the new Aquaman movie was brought down, significantly brought down to a few minutes, until it was totally removed altogether. The lies are heard that she had to sell off $1 million house, a house that she had somewhere, in order to pay off the court money to Johnny Depp. And I believe Johnny Depp actually used that money and donated to charity. So all in all, this story has told us that the damage is showing us the damage that cancel culture, online cancel culture can do. The damage that has led to Johnny Depp losing his place in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, and as well as what is been happening to Amber Heard, and we can see a big shift in how cancel culture is gravitating towards. They see one side of the story, they want to cancel you. They realize that, oops, actually it was the other party that is at fault. Then they go and cancel her. And I think Amber Heard got it worse because she precipitated all this, she started all this, and people realized that they were being played a fool. And I think one of the things that we can all agree on is don't ever take the online community as fools, because they will come back and they will bite you and they will not let go.
I think I understand that. Personally, I am a content creator. Most of us who do YouTube videos, who do videos in general, I think most of us will understand the cancel culture, and you have to give the internet respect. You can't lie on the internet because people will find out. Cannot You cannot manipulate the truth, because ultimately there are people out there who seek the truth, and they will find out eventually. And I think the whole court case um, of Amber Heard was in a way that was so dramatic that made people that were there actually were wondering, this has to be a joke. It was even until the point whereby Johnny Depp was laughing in court. I think that was a moment that everyone remembers. The lawyers that were over there were also wondering what were they actually saying, because it became a point whereby one was uh, one was uh, being defamed innocently, and another one was in her own world, basically. And it got to a point whereby I think the justice was served. She got nothing out of this court. She had to sell her house. She had to do a lot of things to repay Johnny Depp. But I think the bigger damage here is not the final cost of the court. It's not the final cost of the divorce. I think the biggest damage here is the reputation. Because of this whole case, both Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's reputation as actors was impacted, and I think this just shows how powerful the internet can be if you use it negatively, such as the cancel culture. So I believe locally we also have an example. I'm not too sure whether you have anybody in mind, but let's hear from you.
Let us look at okay, cancel culture is one thing, but is there any room for all these people that have been cancelled to come back up again? Do you think there is? Okay, let's talk about Oceangate. Do you think Oceangate has any chance of coming back, rise again from the ashes? Maybe on a different name, or maybe having done some internal management reshuffle and then make sure that their own vessels are up to par, up to mark before they come back up as maybe Oceangate version 2, or maybe Gates or Oceans. I don't know. Maybe it's a different name, but repackaged, and then do you think they can come back up again?
I think certainly, given a new management, I think certainly any company can come back up from their mistakes. The internet is harsh in a way. There will be some people who are very sensitive of the topic, but I think there is also a point whereby there is a closure. People are not going to keep talking about it unless they are making comedy out of the story. I think comedy will eventually die down for it, and people will move on. That's the big thing. People will move on from this. Whether or not their submarine or their vessel is capable of deep sea diving again, that's another question that Oceangate has to deal with themselves. But for I think the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp case, that one is actually maybe for Johnny, he got he got the he got his innocence proven.
Think that he managed to get back what he lost, but I do believe that the last I heard, there was a perfume brand
Chanel,
that, yeah,
Chanel.
there was a perfume brand that stood by him all the while, stood by him until the start of the campaign, start of the law case, all the way until the end of the lawsuit was done. And there are certain brands that still stuck with Johnny Depp from the get go. Not so much for Amber Heard, because Amber Heard's team was just, they just flat out just left. Uh, I think Amber Heard, she can still make a comeback. I believe Hollywood is like this. Nobody is ever gone forever. No matter how bad you are, as long as there's one director who is willing to give you a chance, maybe a small role, maybe a cameo here and there, or she might even, I don't know, change her name from Amber Heard to Amber. I don't know. Do something and then she can break out again, she can come back up again. I don't think it is beyond the realm of possibility. Uh, I do believe everyone is able to come back up, maybe from small roles, especially in Hollywood. What do you think, Ras?
For Amber Heard's situation, I think I can agree with you. She can bounce back if she is if she proves herself again that she can be respected. I think the biggest thing that she lost was her respect from the lawyers, um, from the people around her, basically. As you mentioned, Johnny Depp got a lot of support from the incident as well as after the incident, whereas Amber Heard lost everything. I think this was a big shift in the whole story. The final justice was served. I think the ending was there for this whole fiasco for him. Um, I think as we move on from this incident, we can learn that the internet doesn't like liars. The internet will shut you down, will ruin you if you lie. But then again, the internet jumps to conclusion, and this actually brings back. We can actually bring this back into a local sense, because here in Singapore, there are a lot of social media influencers. I think there are a lot of things that were actually happening locally that we can actually talk about today. So, I think one of the big names that got out of prison recently was Dean Kosh. So, a bit about this guy for those that didn't know about him. He was a well-known celebrity in Singapore. Small celebrity. Singapore is not so big. He is well known in Singapore for Food King, for his very very famous rants, his mockery of a lot of things. He likes to cancel people basically, until it got to a point whereby he got cancelled himself. Um, for those that didn't know, it was discovered that he was grooming underage guys into having a sexual intercourse with him. He was found guilty of it, and it left a sour reputation on him. He basically got thrown out of this Food King series by another company. Um, you know, People were not associating with him because he was in such a bad light. Um, the internet was also very harsh on him. I think you personally have seen it, James.
He was sentenced. He pleaded guilty to certain charges. He was sentenced, and then he served his sentence. Um, I won't go too much into details about what he did or he did not do, because uh, this person, Kosh, he has already come out online and he has made his own videos and he has made his own interviews explaining everything that he has done. Today, our program, what we are going to talk about is uh, how he got himself cancelled. Okay, he got himself cancelled by way of social media, because the person that he actually approached uh, to have certain discussions or to do certain things with him outed him on social media. Okay, and this, you see, in Singapore, it is very serious crime for you to sexually abuse or in any way do anything sexually to an underage child, be it a boy or a girl. It's a very, very serious offense, especially in Singapore. Okay, other places, like certain other places where old men can marry very young girls and all that. We are not talking about that. We are talking about Singapore, where it is one of the highest. The laws here is one of the strictest against this kind of crimes, right? So when this accusation came out, it caught fire very fast, because the accusations were very serious. Uh, it's about him trying to groom an underage boy to have sex with him. Okay, so that is a fact, and more people came up to. It's like a Me Too scenario in Singapore, right? So more people came up and claimed that this also happened to them. And because the online community, these people has already come out and said, yeah, he did this to me too, he did this to me too. So they got together and made a police report against him, and investigations were started against him. And it transpired, it turns out that certain accusations were true, even though initially he denied that it happened. So overnight he lost Food King, he lost NOC, the now defunct company NOC. He lost his gig. He was a DJ in one of the radio stations locally. He lost that job too. He lost monetization from his YouTube. He lost his channel from Twitch. Essentially, he was shut down everywhere. Okay, and then he went on to serve his sentence in jail. Now he's just been recently released, but he is trying to get back onto the social media scene again. That's where I think I want to talk about this, because he has been cancelled. The online the online people, the online citizens people online have already cancelled him. No brands is going to, I believe, no brands is going to collaborate with him because of the seriousness of his crimes that he went to jail for. He can no longer go back to radio because local radio cannot be associated with him. Okay, he has lost his YouTube channel. He can no longer monetize YouTube channel. He has lost Twitch. So right now he is trying to come back up again. If you follow him, very recently he teamed up with another one of his friends, Ayman, to do a board game kind of a series. And then he started his own podcast talking about his time in jail. Come on, I mean he's trying to monetize, and he's trying to make money out of his time coming out from jail, or his time in jail. He's trying to make a story out of it. He's just trying to make some income out of it, trying to get back into the online scene. So my question is to you, Ras. Do you think that he should be able to come back on the media scene? And do you think that given that this seems to be his only skill set, do you think there's even a market here in Singapore for him again?
So I think for Dean Kosh's incident, uh, it was a very big thing that he has done in the past. But I believe in a lot of comebacks. Um, I believe some criminals can actually turn on a new leaf, can flip over a new leaf to do a better back and contribute back to society. Uh, I think for Dean Kosh incident, he was young back then. Okay, not say young, okay, but he was in a phase whereby he got his personal self, uh, his own lust control him, his own desires get the better of him. And I think now that he has served time, um, he knows the difference between right and wrong. I think people should still support him, given that he has the courage to be on camera again. He has the courage to uh, show himself again onto the internet. It is something that many people would not do, especially given that their name are tarnished. There needs to be a sense of understanding. People make mistakes, and
I hear you, Russ. I hear you that everybody needs to be given a second chance. Uh, but there are many ways to have a second chance. One of those ways is for you to reinvent yourself, do something outside of what which you have been taken away from. For example, if you cannot do radio anymore or you cannot do online media anymore, maybe go into the back end, do even if you want to stay in the media industry, you can go into the back end, you can do something else, be a Grab driver, be anyone else, right? But you see, all I'm asking is with the kind of namesake, the kind of reputation he has now, what kind of a market do you think he has? Right now, he's teaming up with another friend of his, an Ayman, but also another media Instagram celebrity sort of, to do a board game. And you have to book the table for $30 to $50 each table to play board games every weekend, like on a Saturday or a Friday night. Um, and that seems to be his only business, his only way of monetization that he can get, because I'm pretty sure in Singapore, at least, no brands will risk going into a collaboration with him. No brands that is of a good name will want to risk that. And he will never be able to go back to radio, so that door is already closed to him. So in reality, what sort of a market do you think he has left? If he was to come back, I suppose, if he wants to come back, or he wants to, this is his only bread and butter, this is the only skill set that he has, I personally believe that it would be better for him to start afresh somewhere else, maybe back to the Philippines, where he came from actually, or Malaysia, or some other place where he can start afresh, and do the things that he wants to do. He will still be able to go online. He will still be able to do his shows. It just wouldn't be in a local context, and he will probably earn a lot more, because other brands from overseas would be able to collaborate with him, because it's just not a local context. Ultimately, I think and I feel that with the case against him, his history, the crime that he's supposed to have committed, um, I don't see how he can come out from this. What about you? What do you think?
nobody cares if you are doing it honestly. People will understand you have to make money up. I think for him, it's not in his belief, it's not in him to do such things, because people are driven by their own motivations. You can be shot down, but you need to learn how to get back up. I think for him, I would advise him, if he ever watches this podcast, to actually stay away from the audience that you used to have, I think the bigger topic in general is if you got cancelled for doing something to underage people, I think that shouldn't be your audience in social media. Social media is a thing that, yes, you can be cancelled. You can be cancelled for a lot of reasons, actually. You do some tax evasion, you know, you're cancelled. You lie in public, you get cancelled. Any dishonest acts, actually, in general.
Get
Or
into an
even,
affair, you also get cancelled.
uh, yeah, okay, okay, that one I need to cut. Okay, that one I need to cut. Okay, because that one too
Why?
sensitive.
Get into an affair also get cancelled. Doesn't have to be
Yeah,
anyone. I know we aren't saying
yeah,
about anybody.
yeah. So you can do a lot of things that will actually cause you to be cancelled. I think in general, once you get cancelled for something, you shouldn't do it anymore, and you should move on to another genre, another audience genre that he can tap on is more on the Yellow Ribbon, which is basically um, a platform trying to promote ex-convicts into and reintegrate them back to society. I think that's a bit better audience given that he has served his time.
And I think this
You
is a
know.
great angle,
Hmm.
as for somebody like him who um, has lost everything, like so much overnight,
Yeah.
gone through the prison, the jail process, to come back up, and if he can advocate or he can start his own channel, uh, maybe even
Our own
connect,
business.
connect with other people in jail that has been released, and then make a series out of it, like what they are doing, how they are doing their lives, from this. I mean, Dikosh, I do hope that you're watching this, because I think this is an idea that you can capitalize on. You will still be able to do series, your shows, even your podcast. So get in touch with all these your friends from prison that you have watched, that you have known, and they have come out, what kind of lives they are leading, how are they finding jobs, how are they surviving. And I think this is a good startup to the the yellow
Yellow Ribbon.
ribbon project, because you are one of them. I mean, you cannot escape the fact that you are one of them. So probably you could go into that genre. And I agree with you, Ras. This is a good um, outlet, because then if myself, I will be interested to watch myself. So
Correct.
I think, um, but you see, even having this, um, I don't believe that it will bring in much income, because let's face it, you need money, you need some resources, even if you are filming a YouTube video, or you're filming an episode for YouTube, because you need money for everything. Okay, it's not going to be as expensive and extravagant as last time, where you only have MediaCorp as your main series provider or creator. So now everybody can be a content creator, everybody can upload their videos on YouTube. So it's cheaper, very very much cheaper, but it still you still need some money, it still costs some money, right? But I think moving forward, if he wants to do this, uh, he will just have to find a way to make up this series. But I don't think he will be able to get much income, because it just does not escape the fact that the brands out there will not be able to support him, unless they are the brands who are like, maybe that supports the recently concluded Pink Dot. We have a lot of local businesses that support the LGBTQ community. So the only way I can see is that these are the companies that will support him for the yellow prison. I keep saying yellow prison. Why do I say that? The Yellow Ribbon Project.
Hmm.
So and yeah, I guess that's the only other way that I can think of. If not, then I believe his only other alternative, in order to make a decent living for himself, will be to find opportunities elsewhere outside of Singapore.
I think that's a good point. Content creation in Singapore is hard. We have a very small audience. It's almost as though someone, my neighbor, could be watching this podcast. It's a very small market. But I believe what you're saying is true. Um, he might not be able to earn much of this yellow ribbon thing, but he can always start a new somewhere else, some other industry, maybe F&B. There is a lot of cases whereby people actually were convicts. There is a lot of stories in Singapore. People were ex-convicts. They create cafes, and so I think the bigger topic here is more on the internet's willingness to actually allow him integrate himself back into our community.
Russ, I believe you were also a receiving part of cancel culture before in your time as a content creator. Could you tell us more about this?
So yeah, I actually did face some cancel culture in my own time as well. This happened a few years back when I first started my own channel. It got a lot of backlash because at first I was doing a lot of bus videos. I was doing a lot of videos just for my own hobby, for my own interest and everything. And there were people that were, they were quite fascinated with my own passion for these kind of things. But there were another half who were wondering, like, this guy is crazy, He's just uploading he's just uploading on clips of vehicles and everything. That actually negatively impacted my career in that sense, because I actually took a hiatus for a while. I stopped creating the videos, and I tried to move on from there. I tried to do other videos, like try to spread out my own career and everything, but eventually, I moved on from the bus videos because it was a thing that, although I have interest in, eventually the cancel culture got into me, and I decided to quit. But given that the good thing about the internet is it's not your real life, you can consider to ignore it. You can move on from it, and I think for Dean Kosh, for Oceangate, and for Amber Heard's case, yes, they have been cancelled at an enormous level, bigger than mine. But I think eventually, you can still do well somewhere else that is, or some other genre that is not your previous industry. So for Amber Heard, maybe acting might not be something that she can do. She can do social media marketing. She can do smaller marketing roles within companies. She can be a advocate to her own brands. She can create her own ideas.
Yeah, and if she really wants to act, maybe OnlyFans you can be, right?
Well, if there is a base for it, sure. I mean, there's so many ways out there. You can flip over and move. That I think in general, Oceangate itself, the company, cannot continue as its own self. It needs to change. Amber Heard cannot continue as her own self. She needs to change. And Dean Kosh, he cannot continue his own self. He needs to change. Do I believe in the internet cancel culture is good? No. But do I believe that the impact is strong? Yes.
I think cancel culture is something that cannot be stopped. And as social media personalities, even actors, actresses, people of power, parliamentarians, you have to expect that if you are out there in the open, even for us, myself, and even for yourself, we cannot please the whole world. There will be some people who will support us. There will be some people who will just never like the actual sight or the sound of us, will always do something or say something to pin us down, to put us down. I think this is very common, this is very normal. What we can do is, even for ourselves, our show, to learn, to get better as we go through our episodes, as we learn gain our experience. I think that's the best takeaway for us, because we cannot stop people from hating, we cannot stop people from liking. We do hope that people will support us, just like our viewers that are listening to us, and our viewers that support us. And for those that don't really like us, it is their fair choice. Everybody is entitled to their opinion, and we can only do so much and tell them that we are doing this show not just for ourselves, but to communicate with our audience out there. Um, if you don't like us, we are sorry that we are not giving you the content that you like. However, we are doing our best, and we do hope that one day we win you over. And for those who are supporting us, thank you so much. You are the reason why we continue our show as it is, and we continue to create content that we hope is what you would like to hear. And always don't forget that if there is any topic that you want us to talk about, you can always tell us in Discord. You can always tell us in our own our YouTube channel, this channel that you're watching, under the comments section. I think today's episode has come more or less to the end. We have talked about the cancel culture as it is now. We understand that it will not be something that can go away or be controlled anytime soon. Maybe someday some internet system will come out, some rules will come out to stop cancel culture or stop online bullying. I'm not sure, but until that time is here, I think all of us have to do our part, be who we are, be true to our channel, whatever content that we are making, be true to that, and I think that's the best that we can do for ourselves. Russ?
But I think also cancel culture is a modern day phenomenon that only when the internet existed it happened. I'm not. Maybe you had some cancel culture when you were young, before the internet. But I think now that times are changing, there is more people are getting connected. The internet allows anonymity, so you can be anonymous. I think this cancel culture will just keep on growing and growing. The only way forward is to just keep your head up and move forward. And that pretty much sums up the whole entire episode. Yes, we do think the cancel culture is a force to be reckoned with. It is a visible force that you cannot mess around with. But I think it does have a substantial impact, and people can deal with it. If you are a public figure, or if you are a public celebrity, you have to deal with it. So with that, I think that's the end of the episode. Once again, thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like our video, comment, and also subscribe to us if you want to listen to more of this podcast that we release every single, and also to our supporters on our Discord. Thank you so much for following us. We do have an increase of more followers on our podcast, so be sure to check our Discord out as well. And we will be also soon launching a new platform, so you can actually support us there, as we will be providing more content there, as well as more events there as well. Be sure to stay tuned, because this will be probably be announced in the next episode as well, so that's a spoiler. And of course, once again, thank you all for watching, and be sure to see you around next time.